So I've been sober from alcohol now for over 7 years, thanks to naltrexone and the Sinclair Method. That treatment protocol changed my life. But I often talk about the contrast of what it's like to be sober for me now compared to what it was like for me trying to quit drinking before I went on this treatment. It's a night and day difference, and I wanted to talk about that difference quickly in this video, especially after seeing this Facebook post where it says sobriety is never owned, it's rented, and rent is due every day. I can understand what they're saying here because when I was trying to get sober before this treatment, it was just a daily battle, white-knuckled experience, but that is not what it's been like for me through the Sinclair Method, and I want to talk about it. So I think for a lot of people in the traditional recovery space, there's this belief that sobriety has to be hard. You have to go to meetings every day, remind yourself that you're an alcoholic, and it's just this fight. And honestly, I have mad respect for people who can do that because the longest I made it sober through this type of approach was 6 months. I was 6 months sober. To be honest, I wanted to drink every day. It was a fight every day. It was just white-knuckled, telling myself, okay, just don't drink today. But the craving was there, the desire was there, and it was just like fighting it yet another day. But through the Sinclair Method, I've been sober for over 7 years, and I'm in a place where, and this has been true since the day I went sober 7 years ago. I quit drinking by accident through this treatment because it's not an abstinence-based treatment. You can still drink on it if you want to, and you can drink with control. But I kind of fell out of love with alcohol through this treatment. What happened is the longer I was on it, the less and less I was drinking, to where 4 months went by and I was like, I haven't had a drink in 4 months. Well, maybe I guess I'm not going to drink anymore. And that was over 7 years ago now. And the results have stuck with me today, where I don't think about drinking. It's not a fight. I don't want to drink. I don't miss it. If I wanted to drink tomorrow, I can. I would just follow the Sinclair Method protocol. But there's not this like daily fight or craving or fear that I'm going to relapse or, identity that I'm an alcoholic and one drink, would lead to a binge. These kind of mindsets and beliefs just don't apply to the Sinclair Method. And the reason is that this treatment works to heal alcohol addiction at the root level, which is neurologically in the brain. For me, I started the treatment as a daily binge drinker, and over the course of the year, following the protocol, I was taking naltrexone before drinking, and by doing that, it was helping my brain to gradually unlearn the addiction because naltrexone mutes the reward from alcohol, so it's not as pleasurable, and that's the reason that alcohol is addictive in the first place, because it's just so pleasurable for the brain. So for me, over the course of a year, as my brain wasn't getting the same pleasure from alcohol, I saw myself drinking less and less, having more and more alcohol-free days, having more control when I did drink, and just no longer craving alcohol anymore, where I could go weeks or months without drinking, and I didn't even think about it. It just wasn't an issue for me. It wasn't a fight. It wasn't because I was trying. It was just because my brain had healed. My brain truly feels like it's back in the place before I ever even had my first drink of alcohol, like in my teenage years. I didn't think about drinking. I didn't want to drink when I had a bad day. I didn't crave alcohol. That's really where my brain is at now, thanks to this treatment. And so sobriety through the Sinclair Method is just a night and day difference compared to white-knuckled sobriety, which I had done before. And again, mad respect to people who can stay sober long-term through that approach. For me, it never worked, but I'm so thankful that there's been advancements in neuroscience and greater understanding about how alcohol addiction is learned in the brain and how the Sinclair Method can help the brain unlearn alcohol addiction. This treatment is not new. It's been around for over 30 years. It has a very high success rate, yet most people still don't know about it because it goes against the traditional kind of mainstream treatment that abstinence is the first step to recovery. You're an alcoholic, you have a disease, you're an alcoholic for the rest of your life. This treatment kind of just turns all that on its head because it says, hey, alcohol addiction is actually a learned behavior in the brain, and it can be unlearned over about 6 months, 12 months, 18 months for most people. If you're not familiar with this treatment, most people aren't, even though it's been around for over 30 years. You're welcome to learn more. All my other videos on here are about it. You can check out the link in my profile. My website's thrivealcoholrecovery.com, or just do research online. Search naltrexone, search the Sinclair Method for alcohol addiction. Okay, bye.